That's me, he asked, or what? I don't know. Who is this woman, beautiful woman, dark hair? Maybe it's my wife. Yes. The potato then probably no more than a bud. I can't remember any of those women approaching the beauty of this one. And she's the one who died. And this is you, with the girlfriend? Yeah, my girlfriend. I had her then. She passed away already. You outlive everybody, even your girlfriends. Yeah, I had a few girlfriends. I had a few in my younger years, after my wife passed away. Yeah. Did you enjoy that? The words have no meaning for him at first. In this question he seems to have met his match. We wait, my crippled hands on my mother's sideboard, which is thick with grease and dirt. The tablecloth on the dining room table bears every stain imaginable. Nothing else here is quite so fetid and foul. I'll bet it's one of the cloths we never got to use ourselves. I asked if you enjoyed the girls. Well, yes, he suddenly replied. Yes, it was all right. I tried a few, but not recently. What reason? Not recently. What do you mean, what reason? Not lately. Lately? No, too old for that. Finished with that. He waves a hand almost angrily. That's done. That's out. Goodbye, girlfriends. Any more photos? You have a lot of nice photographs. Maybe there are more inside? Here? Inside here? Nothing. You never know. The top drawer, where once one would have found a bag of tefillin, a tallis, a sex manual, the tablecloths, reveals itself, when opened, to be indeed empty. Her whole life was devoted to keeping things in drawers, things to call ours, Debbie's drawers, too, things to call hers, Michelle's drawers, all the existence, born and unborn, possible and impossible, in drawers. But empty drawers, looked at long enough, can probably drive you mad. I kneel to open the door to the tall middle drawer. There is a box. A cardboard carton is there. Not nothing. On top of the box is marked Morty's things, my mother's writing. On the side, again, her writing, Morty's flag and things. No, you're right, nothing here, and shut the sideboard's lower door. Oh, what a life. What a life, muttered Fish as he led me back to the living room sofa. Yeah, was it good, life? Was it good to live, Fish? Sure, better than being dead. So people say. But what I was really thinking was that it all began with my mother's coming to watch over my shoulder what I did with Drenka up at the grotto. That it was her staying to watch, however disgusting it was to her, it was her seeing me through all those ejaculations leading nowhere that led me to here. The goofiness you must get yourself into to get where you have to go. The extent of mistakes you are required to make. If they told you beforehand about all the mistakes, you'd say, no, I can't do it. You'll have to get somebody else. I'm too smart to make all those mistakes. And they would tell you, we have faith, don't worry. And you would say, no, no way. You need a much bigger schmuck than me. But they repeat that they have faith that you are the one, that you will evolve into a colossal schmuck more conscientiously than you can possibly begin to imagine. And you will make mistakes on a scale you can't even dream of now, because there is no other way to reach the end. The coffin came home in a flag. His burned-up body, first on Leyte, in an army cemetery in the Philippines. When I was away at sea, the coffin came back. They sent it back. My father wrote me in his immigrant handwriting that there was a flag on the coffin, and after the funeral, the army guy folded it up for my mother in the official way. It's in that carton in the sideboard. It's 15 feet away. They were back together on the sofa, holding hands. And he has no idea who I am. No problem stealing the carton. Just have to find the right moment. It'll be best if Fish doesn't have to die in the process. When I think of dying, Fish happened to be saying, I think I wish I was never born. I wish I was never born. That's right. Why? 'Cause death is a terrible thing. Death, it's no good. So I wish I was never born. Angrily, he states this. I want to die because I don't have to. He doesn't want to die because he does have to. That's my philosophy, he says. But you had a wonderful wife, a beautiful woman. Oh, yeah, that I did. 2 good children. Yeah, yes. The anger subsides, but only slowly, by degrees. He's not to be easily convinced that death can be redeemed by anything. You had friends? No, I didn't have too many friends. I didn't have time for friends. But my wife, she was a very nice woman. She passed away 40, 50 years ago already. Nice woman. As I say, I met her through my... Wait a minute. Her name is Yetta. You met her through Yetta, that's right. You met her through my mother. Her name was Yetta, yes. I was introduced to her from the Bronx. I still can remember that. They were walking across the park. I took a walk, and I met him on the way, and they introduced me to her. And that's the girl I fell in love with. You have a good memory for a man your age. Oh, yeah, thank God. Yes. What time is it now? Almost 1 o'clock. Is it? It's late. It's time to put up my lamb chop. I make a lamb chop. And I have applesauce for dessert. It's almost 1, you say. Yeah, just a few minutes to 1. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to put up, I call it my dinner. You cook the lamb chop by yourself. Oh, yeah. I put it in the oven, takes about 10, 15 minutes and it's done. Sure. I got delicious apples. I put in an apple to bake, so that's my dessert. And then I have an orange. And that's what I call a good meal. Good. You take care of yourself. Can you bathe yourself? Get him to bathe, then walk off with a carton. No, I take a shower. And it's safe for you. You hold on? Yeah, it's a closed shower, with a curtain. I got a shower there. So that's where I shower. No problem at all. Once a week, yeah, I take a shower. And nobody ever drives you down to look at the ocean? No, I used to love the ocean. I used to go bathing in the ocean many years ago already. I was a pretty good swimmer. I learned in this country. I remember you were a member of the Polar Bear Club. What? The Polar Bear Club. I don't remember that. Sure, a group of men who went swimming on the beach in the cold weather. They were called the Polar Bear Club. You would go out in the cold weather in a bathing suit, go in the water, come right out in the 20s, in the 30s. The Polar Bear Club, you say? Yes. Yes, I do. I think I do remember that. Did you enjoy that, Fish? The Polar Bear Club, I hated it. Why did you do it then? I swear to God, I don't remember why I did it. You taught me, Fish. You taught me to swim. I did. I taught Irving. My son was born in Asbury Park. And Lois was born right here, upstairs in this house. In the bedroom where I sleep now. She was born. Lois, the baby. She passed away. In the corner of the living room that is back of Fish's head, there's an American flag rolled around a short pole. Fresh from reading the words, Morty's flag and things, Sabbath only now sees it for the first time. Is that it? Is there just the carton there, empty? In it none of Morty's things any longer, and the flag from his coffin tacked to this pole? The flag looks as washed out as the beach chair in the yard. If this cleaning lady were interested in cleaning, she would have torn it up for rags long ago. So how come you have an American flag? Sabbath asked. I got it quite a few years already. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. Oh, wait a minute. I think it was from the Belmar Bank. When I piled up money, they gave me this flag, this American flag. In Belmar, I used to be a depositor. Now, goodbye deposits. You want to have your dinner, Fish? Do you want to go in and make your lamb chop? I'll sit right here if you want me to. It's all right. I got time. It wouldn't run away. Fish is laughing, getting more and more like a laugh. And you still have a sense of humor, said Sabbath. Not much. So even if nothing is left in the carton, I will come away having learned 2 things today. The fear of death is with you forever, and a shred of irony lives on and on, even in the simplest Jew. Did you ever think that you would live to be a man of 100 years old? No, I really didn't. I heard about it in the Bible, but I really didn't. Thank God I make it. But how long I'm going to last, God knows. How about your dinner, Fish? How about your lamb chop? What is this here? Can you see this? In his lap again are the 2 pieces of mail he was fiddling with when I came in. Will you read it to me? It's a bill or what? Official Shabbos, 111 Hammond Avenue. Let me open it up. Comes from Dr. Kaplan, the optometrist. Who? Dr. Kaplan, the optometrist, in Neptune. Inside is a card. I'll read it. Happy birthday. Oh, the recognition pleases him inordinately. What's his name here? Dr. Benjamin Kaplan, the optometrist. The optometrist? Yeah, happy birthday to a wonderful patient. Never heard of him. Hope your birthdays are as special as you are. Did you have a birthday recently? Yeah, sure. When was your birthday? The 1st of April. Right, April Fool's Day. My mother always thought this appropriate for Fish. Yes, that distaste of hers was for his pecker. Unfathomable otherwise. So this is a birthday card. A birthday card. The name is what? Kaplan, a doctor. That's a doctor I never heard of. Maybe he heard about my birthday. And the other one. Shall I open it up? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. From the Guarantee Reserve Life Insurance Company. I don't think it's anything. What does it say there? They want to sell you a life insurance policy. It says life insurance available to ages 40 to 85. You can throw it out. So that's the only mail there is. The heck with that. No, you don't need that. You don't need a life insurance policy. No, I got one. I think about $5,000 or something. My neighbor, he pays for it all the time. That's the policy. I never carry big insurance. For who? For what? $5,000 is enough. So he takes care of that. After my death, it'll bury me, and he gets the rest. He pronounces death like debt. Who knows, Fish says, how much longer have I got to live? My time is running out. Sure, how much more can I live after 100 years? Very little. If I have a year or 2, I'll be lucky. If I have an hour or 2, I'll be lucky. How about your lamb chop? A guy is supposed to come from the Asbury Park Press to interview me at noon. Yes? I left the door open. He didn't show up. I don't know why. To interview you about being 100. Yeah, for my birthday at noon. Maybe he got cold feet or something. What is your name, mister? My first name is Morris. Mickey is what they've called me since I was a boy. Wait a minute. I knew a Morris from Belmar. Morris, it'll come to me. And my last name is Sabbath, like my cousin. That's exactly right, on McCabe Avenue. And the other guy, the name is also Morris. Oh, gee, Morris, it'll come to me. It'll come to you after you eat your lamb chop. Come on, Fish, I said, and here I lifted him onto his feet. You are going to eat now. Sabbath never got to see him make the lamb chop. He would have liked to. He would very much have liked to see the lamb chop itself. It would have been fun, thought the puppeteer, to watch him make the lamb chop and then, when he turned around, take the lamb chop quickly and eat it. But as soon as he got Fish into the kitchen, he excused himself to go upstairs to use the bathroom and returned to the dining room, where he lifted the carton out of the sideboard. It was not empty, and carried it out of the house. The black woman was still on the top step of the porch, sitting there now and watching the rain come down as she listened to the music on the radio. Awfully happy. Another one on Prozac. Features that could be part Indian. Young. Ron and I were taken by the other sailors to a district on the outskirts of Veracruz, a kind of nightclub that's half outside, sleazy and shabby, in a honky-tonk district with strings of lights and dozens of young women and sailors at crude tables. As they made their bargains and finished their drinking, they retired to a low-slung row of houses where there were the rooms. All the girls were a mixture. We're on the Yucatan Peninsula. The Mayan past is not far away. Admixture of races, always mystifying, takes a person to the depths of living. This girl was a sweetheart with a lovely personality, very dark, decent, smiling, engaging, warm in every way. Probably 20 or under. She was lovely. There was no hurry. There was no rush. I remember her using some kind of ointment on me afterward that stung. Maybe this astringent stuff was supposed to forestall any disease. Very nice girl, just like her. How's the old man? Eating his lamb chop. Yippee! She cried. Christ, I'd like to meet her. Don't stop banging. No, too old. Finish with that. That's done. That's out. Goodbye, girlfriends. You from Texas? Where'd you get that yippee? Yippee-ki-yo-ki-yay. That's only when cattle's involved, she said, laughing with her mouth wide open. Whoopie-tie-yi-yo, get along, little doggies. What is a dogie, anyway? A little stunted calf whose mother's left it. A dogie's a calf that's lost its mom. You're a real cow-puncher. I took you first for an Asbury girl. I like you, ma'am. I hear your spurs a-jingling. What do they call you? Hop along, Cassidy, she told him. What do they call you? Rabbi Israel, the Baal Shem Tov, the master of God's good name. The boys at the shul here call me Boardwalk. Nice to meet you. Let me tell you a tale, he said, brushing his beard with a raised shoulder while by the side of the car, cradling in his 2 arms the box of Morty's things. Rabbi Mendel once boasted to his teacher, Rabbi Elimelech, that evenings he saw the angel who rolls away the light before the darkness, and mornings the angel who rolls away the darkness before the light. Yes, said Rabbi Elimelech, in my youth I saw that too. Later you don't see those things anymore. I don't get Jewish jokes, Mr. Boardwalk. She was laughing again. What kind of jokes do you get? But from within the carton, Morty's American flag, which I know is folded there at the very bottom in the official way, tells me it's against some Jewish law. And so on into the car he went with the carton, and then he drove it down to the beach, to the boardwalk, which was no longer there. The boardwalk was gone. Goodbye, boardwalk. The ocean had finally carried it away. The Atlantic is a powerful ocean. Death is a terrible thing. That's a doctor I never heard of. Remarkable. Yes, that's the word for it. It was all remarkable. Goodbye, remarkable. Egypt and Greece, goodbye, and goodbye, Rome. Here's what Sabbath found in the carton on that rainy, misty afternoon, Morty's birthday, Wednesday, April 13, 1994. His car with the out-of-state plates, the only car on Ocean Avenue by the McCabe Avenue beach, parked diagonally, all by itself, looking toward the sloshing unimpressively about sea god as it grayly swept southward in the tail end of the storm. There was nothing before in Sabbath's life like this carton. Nothing approached it, even going through all of Nicky's gypsy clothes after there was no more Nicky. Awful as that closet was, by comparison with this box, it was nothing. The pure, monstrous purity of the suffering was new to him, made any and all suffering he'd known previously seem like an imitation of suffering. This was the passionate, the violent stuff, the worst, invented to torment one species alone, the remembering animal, the animal with the long memory, and prompted merely by lifting out of the carton and holding in his hand what Yetta Sabbath had stored there of her older sons. This was what it felt like to be a venerable boardwalk jerked from its moorings by the Atlantic, a worn, well-made, old-fashioned boardwalk running the length of a small oceanside town, immovably bolted to the creosoted piles as thick around as a strong man's chest, and, when the familiar old waves turned on the coast, jiggled up and out like a child's loose tooth. Just things, just these few things, and for him, they were the hurricane of the century. Morty's track letter, dark blue with a black trim, a winged sneaker on the crossbar of the A. On the back, a tiny tag, The Standard Pennant Company, Big Run, PA. Ward on a light blue leather sweater, the Asbury Bishops. Photo, twin-engine B-25. Not the J he went down in, but the D he trained in. Morty in an undershirt, fatigue pants, dog tags, officer's cap, parachute straps. His strong arms, a good kid. His crew, 5 altogether, all of them on the airstrip. Mechanic servicing one engine behind them. Fort Story, Virginia, stamped on the back. Looking happy, sweet as hell. The watch, my Benrus. This watch. Portrait photo taken by La Grata of Long Beach. A boy in cap and uniform. Photo throwing the discus at the stadium, getting ready to make his circle, arm back behind him. Photo action shot, the discus released, 5 feet out in front of him, his mouth open, the dark undershirt with the A emblem, the skimpy blue shorts. Pale color photo, runny, like watercolor, his mouth open, the muscles. 2 little recordings, no memory of these at all. One addressed from him at 324 CTD Aircrew State Teachers College, Oswego, New York. This living record was recorded at USO Club operated by the YMCA. His voice is on the record, addressed to Mr. and Mrs. S. Sabbath and Mickey. A medal backing on the second record. This letter on record is one of the many services enjoyed by the men of the armed forces as they use the USO, a home away from home, voiceograph, automatic voice recorder, to Mr. and Mrs. S. Sabbath and Mickey. He always included me. Isosceles triangles of red, white, and blue satin stitched together to make a yarmulke. White triangle at the front shows a V. Below the V, ... dash, the Morse code for V. God bless America beneath that. A patriot's yarmulke. A miniature Bible, Jewish holy scriptures inside in light blue ink. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Arnold R. Fix, chaplain. Opening page headed, The White House. As Commander-in-Chief, I take pleasure in commending the reading of this Bible to all who serve. Franklin Delano Roosevelt commends the reading of the Bible to my brother. The way they got these kids to die. Commends. Abridged prayer book for Jews in the Armed Forces of the United States. A brown, palm-sized book, in Hebrew and English. Between 2 middle pages, sepia snapshot of the family. We're in the yard. His hand on my father's shoulder. My father in his suit, vest, even a pocket hanky. What's up? Rosh Hashanah? I'm dressed to kill in a loafer jacket and slacks. My mother in a coat and hat. Morty in a sports jacket but no tie. Year he went in. Took it along with him. Look at what a good kid he is. Look at Dad. Like fish, a camera, and he's frozen stiff. My little mother under a veiled hat. Carried our picture in his prayer book for Jews in the Armed Forces of the United States. But he didn't die because he was a Jew. He died because he was an American. They killed him because he was born in America. His toilet case, brown leather engraved MS in gold, about 6 by 7 by 3. 2 packets of capsules inside, sustained release capsules. Dexamil, to relieve both anxiety and depression. Dexedrine, 15 milligrams. And amibarbital, 1.5 grains. Amibarbital. Morty's or Mom's? Did she use this case for her own stuff when she went nuts? Half a tube of Menin brushless shave. Little green and white cardboard pepper shaker of Menin talcum for men. Shasta Beauty Shampoo, a gift from Procter & Gamble. Nail scissors, tan comb, Menin hair cream for men. Still smells, still creamy. 1 unlabeled bottle, contents dried up. Imitation enamel box, bar of ivory soap inside, unopened. A black, majestic dry shaver in a small red box, with cord. Hairs in the head of it. The microscopic hairs of my brother's beard. That is what they are. A black leather money belt, supple from being worn next to his skin. Black plastic tube containing bronze medal inscribed Championship 1941 3rd Senior Discus. Dog tag, A for blood type, H for Hebrew, Morton S. Sabbath, 12204591T42. Mother's name beneath his, Yetta Sabbath, 227 McCabe Avenue, Bradley Beach, NJ. A round yellow pen that says time for Soraka. 2 bullets. A red cross on a white button and the words I serve at the top. Second lieutenant bars, 2 sets, bronze wings. A red and gold tea chest the size of a small brick. Sweet touch-me tea. From the house, wasn't it? To put doodads in, wire, keys, nails, picture hangers. Morty take it with him, or did she just put his things there when they came back? Patches. The air Apaches. The 498th Squadron, the 345th Bomb Group. I can still tell which is which. Ribbons. The wings from his cap. Clarinet in 5 pieces. The mouthpiece. A diary. The Ideal Midget Diary, year 1939. Only 2 entries. For August 26th, Mickey's birthday. For December 14th, Shell and B got married. Our cousin B. My 10th birthday. A GI sewing kit, mildewed. Pins, needles, scissors, buttons. Some khaki-colored thread still left. Document, American Eagle, E pluribus unum, in grateful memory of Second Lieutenant Morton S. Sabbath, who died in the service of his country in the Southwest Pacific area December 15, 1944. He stands in the unbroken line of patriots who have dared to die that freedom might live and grow and increase its blessings. Freedom lives, and through it he lives, in a way that humbles the undertakings of most men. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, President of the United States of America. Document, Purple Heart. The United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, pursuant to authority vested in him by Congress, has awarded the Purple Heart established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York, August 7, 1782, to Second Lieutenant Morton Sabbath, AS number 0827746, for military merit and for wounds received in action resulting in his death, December 15, 1944, given under my hand in the city of Washington on the 16th day of June, 1945, Secretary of War, Henry Stimson. Certificates, trees planted in Palestine in memory of Morton Sabbath. Planted by Jack and Bertie Hochberg, planted by Sam and Yetta Sabbath, for the reforestation of Eretz Yisrael, planted by the Jewish National Fund for Palestine. 2 small ceramic figures, a fish, the other an outhouse with a kid sitting on the seat and another kid waiting his turn around the corner. We were kids. We won it one night at the Pokerino on the boards, our joke, the crapper. Morty took it with him to the war, with the ceramic bluefish. At the bottom, the American flag. How heavy a flag is, all folded up the official way. He took the flag down with him onto the beach. There he unfurled it, a flag with 48 stars, wrapped himself in it, and in the midst there wept and wept. The fun I had just watching him and Bobby and Lenny, watching him with his friends, watching them just fool around, kid, laugh, tell jokes. That he included me in the address, that he always included me. Not until 2 hours later, when he returned from tramping the beach wrapped in that flag, up through the sand to Shark River drawbridge and back, crying all the way, rapidly talking, then wildly mute, then chanting aloud words and sentences inexplicable even to himself. Not until after 2 solid hours of this raving about Morty, about the brother, but the one loss he could never bull his way through, did he return to find in the car, on the floor, beside the brake pedal, the packet of envelopes addressed in Morty's easy-to-read hand. They had dropped out of the carton while he was unpacking it, but he'd been too emotional to pick them up, let alone read them. And he'd come back because after 2 hours of staring into the sea and up at the sky and seeing nothing and everything and nothing, he'd thought that the frenzy was over and that he had regained possession of 1994. He figured the only thing that could ever swallow him up like that again would have to be the ocean, and all from only a single carton. Imagine, then, the history of the world. We are immoderate because grief is immoderate, all the hundreds and thousands of kinds of grief. The return address was Lieutenant Morton Sabbath's APO number in San Francisco, 6 cents via airmail, postmarked November and December 1944, in a brittle rubber band that broke into bits the moment Sabbath slipped his finger beneath it. 5 letters from the Pacific. To get a letter from him was always powerful. Nothing mattered more. The insignia of the U.S. Army at the top of the page and Morty's handwriting underneath, like a glimpse of Morty himself. Everybody read them 10 times, 20 times, even after his mother had read them aloud at the dinner table. "There's a letter from Morty," to the neighbors over the phone. "A letter from Morty." And these were the last 5. December 3rd, 1944. Dearest Mom, Dad, and Mickey. Hello, everyone. How is every little thing at home? Some mail came in today, and I thought sure that I had some. However, I was wrong. I think someone screwed up somewhere, and I think I will try to locate it. If I can, I am going to fly to New Guinea and check up. I awoke at 9:20 this morning and shaved and then made some breakfast. It began raining, so I went down to my navigator tent and painted our group insignia on my B-4 bag. It is an Indian head, and I'm going to print the name Air Apaches. If you ever read about the Air Apaches, you will know that is our group. I spent most of the afternoon painting, and then we brewed up some tea and cookies for a nosh. Mom, has anything ever been cut of my letters that I have been writing? I ate supper and then checked to see whether I was flying for tomorrow. We played cards tonight and listened to the radio. We got some jazz. Incidentally, we won the game. I got a bread from the mess hall, and we have grape jelly, so we made hot chocolate and ate bread and jelly this evening. Well, folks, I guess that's about all for now, so I will sign off with all my love. Don't work too hard and take good care of yourselves. Give everyone my love and be good. May God bless and keep you well. Your loving son, Mort. December 7, 1944. Dearest Mom, Dad, and Mickey. Hi, folks. Well, another day is almost over, and I am operations officer tonight. We have been flying pretty often around here, as you probably have been reading in the newspaper. There isn't much new around here that I haven't already told you. By the way, if you read about the Air Apaches, that's our group, so you will know that it is us on the mission. The war began 3 years ago today. We put up our tent today, and tomorrow I am going to try and put a wooden floor in it. Wood is scarce around here, but if you know where to go, you can usually get some. We are fixing up a shower and lots of odds and ends to make it home-like. The natives are eager to help us. They haven't much clothes, for the Japs took most of it, so we give them a few articles of clothes and they will do almost anything for us. We have air raids quite often, but they don't amount to much. How are things going at home? The food here has gotten better, and we had turkey for dinner and get plenty of vegetables. Well, folks, since there isn't much more to write about, so I will sign off for tonight. Take good care of yourselves, and may God bless you. I love you very much, and think of home always. Here's a big hug. A kiss, folks. Good night. Your loving son, Mort. December 9, 1944. Dearest Mom, Dad, and Mickey. Hi, folks. I received your V-mail the other day, dated the 17th of November, and it sure was grand hearing from you. Mom, don't use V-mail, for it takes longer to get here than airmail letters, and you can write more in a letter. Your mail comes through now in a little over 14 days, so things have straightened out. Let me know where Sid L. is as soon as you find out, for if he comes over here, I would like to look him up. As yet, I haven't received your packages, but they should arrive soon. A few days ago, I flew back to our old field to bring back a new plane. I have been here 2 days waiting, and again, I looked up Gene Hochberg, and we had a good time seeing each other. I bought a new pair of GI shoes and mattress covers that I needed. I found my clothes here and picked up the laundry that I left when I went. Everything was intact, and I bought more articles while here. I also purchased a case of grapefruit juice, for they are good on a mission when you are thirsty. Last night I saw When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, and it was very enjoyable. It rained last night, and I was lazy and didn't get up until 10:30 a.m. I am glad to hear that everyone at home is feeling fine. I think I will see how Eugene is doing today. I gave him a wooden floor for his tent yesterday. Well, folks, that's about all the bull for now. Be good and may God bless you. I think of you always, your loving son, Mort. December 10, 1944. Dearest Mom, Dad, and Mickey. Hello, folks. Well, here we are still waiting for a new airplane. Yesterday I went to see Gene, but I didn't stay long, for I had to bring the Jeep back to the squadron. I read Bob Hope's book, I Never Left Home, and it was very good. It began to rain about then and kept up until chow time. I went to a friend's tent and we played bridge for a few hours. Then we cooked up a little nosh of ham and eggs and onions and bread and hot chocolate. I went to sleep quite late and got up for breakfast at 7:10 a.m. Most of the morning I spent cleaning my moccasins with oil, and then my co-pilot and I took our pistols and practiced firing at bottles and cans. When I returned, I took my gun apart and oiled it. I finished reading my book and then ate dinner. I practiced my clarinet. In the evening, I went to see one of our boys who is in the hospital, and he should be getting out in a few days. Right now, I'm listening to the radio and writing to you. How are things going at home? I sent home about $222 about a month ago, and you haven't said anything about receiving the money orders. If you receive them, let me know. And also, if you are getting my bonds and the $125 allotment every month. Well, folks, be good and take care of yourselves. I miss you a lot and sure hope the war ends soon. Good night, and may God bless you, your loving son, Mort. December 12, 1944. Dearest Mom, Dad, and Mickey. Well, I finally returned today, and I ferried a new ship here. I saw a good movie last night, and when I returned to my tent, we shot the bull for a few hours and hit the sack. I packed our ship in the morning, and we took off. We flew formation up, and the new ships are a lot faster than the others. The food here is very good, and we are still working on our tent. We should have a wooden floor in soon. We had fresh lamb for dinner and good coffee. I picked up a lot of equipment for our tent while at our old field. Things are going quite well around here, and I guess you read about the invasion up here. Naturally, we participated in it. How are things going at home? I haven't received mail for the last few days, but there should be some tomorrow. I'm sure glad to hear that Mickey is doing so well with the discus and the shot. Just keep after him and make him practice, and who knows, he might be in the Olympics. Let me know whether you have received my money order of $222 and war bond. I guess we will be going on leave in a few months. Well, folks, that's about all for now. I will keep on writing as often as I can when I have something to write. Well, good night, and may God bless you. I think of you all often and hope to see you soon, your loving son, Mort. The Jap shot him down the next day. He would be 70. We would be celebrating his birthday. Only for a while was all this his. A very little while. The B-25D had a maximum speed at 15,000 feet of 284 miles per hour. It had a range of 1,500 miles. Empty, it weighed 20,300 pounds. Wingspan of those flat gull wings, 67 feet 7 inches. Length, 52 feet 11 inches. Height, 15 feet 10 inches. 2 half-inch nose guns and twin half-inch guns in both the dorsal and the retractable ventral turrets. The normal bomb load was 2,000 pounds. Maximum permissible overload, 3,600 pounds. There was nothing Sabbath hadn't known about the North American Mitchell B-25 medium bomber, and little that he couldn't remember, and remember precisely, while driving north in the dark with Morty's things beside him on the passenger seat. He remained wrapped in the American flag. Never take it off. Why should he? On his head, the red, white, and blue V for victory, God bless America yarmulke. Dressing like this made not a scrap of difference to anything, transformed nothing, abated nothing, neither merged him with what was gone nor separated him from what was here. Yet he was determined never again to dress otherwise. A man of mirth must always dress in the priestly garb of his sect. Clothes are a masquerade anyway. When you go outside and see everyone in clothes, then you know for sure that nobody has a clue as to why he was born, and that, aware of it or not, people are perpetually performing in a dream. It's putting corpses into clothes that really betrays what great thinkers we are. I liked that Link was wearing a tie and a Paul Stewart suit and a silk handkerchief in his breast pocket. Now you can take him anywhere. Jimmy Doolittle's raid. 16 B-25s, land-based planes taking off from a carrier to drop their bombs 670 miles away. From the USS Hornet, April 18, 1942, 52 years ago next week. 6 minutes over Tokyo, followed by hours of pandemonium in our house. 2 glasses of schnapps for Sam, the annual intake in a single night. Flew right over the palace of the God Emperor, who could have stopped his nutty admirals before it even began if God had given God Emperor just an ordinary commoner's pair of balls. Only 4 months after Pearl Harbor, first raid on Japan of the war, 11 tons of a medium-range bomber lifting off the deck 16 times. Then in February and March of 45, the B-29s, the super fortresses out of the Marianas, burning them to a crisp at night. Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka, Kobe, but the biggest and best of the B-29s, which did in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, were 8 months too late for us. The date to end the fucking thing was Thanksgiving, 1944. That would have been something to be thankful for. We played cards tonight, listened to the radio. We got some jazz. Incidentally, we won the game. The Jap bomber was a Mitsubishi G4M1. Their fighter was a Mitsubishi Zero Sen. Sabbath worried every night in bed about the Zero. A math teacher at school who'd flown in World War I said the Zero was formidable. In the movies, they called it deadly. And when he lay alone in the dark beside Morty's empty bed, he couldn't do anything to get deadly out of his head. The word made him want to scream. The Jap carrier plane at Pearl Harbor had been the Nakajima B-5N1. Their high-altitude fighter was a Kawasaki Hien, the Tony that gave the B-29s a hard time until LeMay moved from Europe to 21st Bomber Command and switched from day to nighttime fire raids. Our carrier planes, Grumman F-6F, Vought 54U, Curtiss P-40E, Grumman TBF-1, the Hellcat, the Corsair, the Warhawk, the Avenger. The Hellcat, at 2,000 horsepower, twice as powerful as the Zero. Sabbath and Ron could identify from cutout models the silhouettes of every plane the Japs put up against Morty and his crew. The P-40 Warhawk, Ron's favorite American fighter, had a shark's mouth painted under its nose when they used them as flying tigers in Burma and China. Sabbath's favorite was Colonel Doolittle's plane and Lieutenant Sabbath's, the B-25. Two 17-horsepower Wright R-2609 14-cylinder radial engines, each driving a Hamilton Standard propeller. How could he kill himself now that he had Morty's things? Something always came along to make you keep living. God damn it. He was driving north because he didn't know what else to do but take the carton home, put it in his studio, lock it up there for safekeeping. Because of Morty's things, he was headed back to a wife who had nothing but admiration for a woman in Virginia who had cut off her husband's dick in his sleep. But was the alternative to return the carton to fish and then go back to the beach and charge out into the rising tide? The blade head of the electric shaver contained particles of Morty's beard. In the case, with the clarinet pieces, was the reed from Morty's lips. Only inches from Sabbath, in the toilet case stamped MS, was the comb with which Morty had combed his hair and the scissors with which Morty had clipped his nails. And there were recordings, 2 of them, on each Morty's voice and his ideal midget diary, year 1939. Under August 26, Mickey's birthday, written in Morty's hand. I cannot walk into the waves and leave this stuff behind. Drenka, her death. No idea that would be her last night. Every night saw pretty much the same picture. Got used to it. Visiting hours over at 8:30. Get there a little after 9. Wave to the night nurse, a good-natured, buxom blonde named Jinx. Just keep going down the hall to Drenka's darkened room. It's not allowed, but it is allowed if the nurse allows it. The first time Drenka asked, but after that, nothing more had to be said. I'm leaving now. always mouthed this to the nurse on the way out, meaning there's no one with her now. Sometimes when I left, she'd already be asleep from the morphine drip, her dried-out lips open and her eyelids not completely closed. Could see the whites of her eyes. Either leaving or coming, I was sure that she was dead when I saw that. But the chest was moving. It was just the drugged-out state. The cancer everywhere, but her heart and her lungs were still okay. And I never dreamed she would go that night. Got used to the oxygen prong in her nose. Got used to the drainage bag pinned to her bed. Her kidneys were failing, yet there was always urine there when I checked the bag. Got used to that. Got used to the IV pole and the morphine drip hooked to the pump. Got used to the upper part of her no longer looking like it belonged to the bottom part. Emaciated from a little above the waist and from the waist down, boy, oh boy, bloated, edemic, the tumor pressing on the aorta, decreasing the blood flow. Jinx explained it all, and he got used to the explanations. Under the blanket, out of sight, a bag so that the shit could come out somewhere. Ovarian cancer hits the colon and the bowel fast. If they'd operated, she'd have bled to death. Cancer too widespread for surgery. I'd got used to that, too. Widespread. Okay, we can live with widespread. I'd show up. We'd talk. I'd sit and watch her breathing through that open mouth, asleep. Breathing, yes. Oh, yes. How I had got used to Drinka breathing. I'd come in, and if she was awake, she'd say, "My American boyfriend is here." Eyes and cheekbones beneath a gray turban appeared to be what was speaking to him. Patches of hair, all that was left. "I failed chemotherapy," she told him one night, but he'd got used to that. Nobody passes everything, he told her. She'd just go on sleeping a lot with her mouth open and her eyelids not completely closed. Or she'd be waiting, propped up on her pillow, comfortable on the morphine drip, until she suddenly wasn't and she needed a booster. But he'd got used to the booster. It was always there. She needs a morphine booster, and Jinx was always there to say, "I have your morphine, honey." And so that was taken care of. And we could go on like this forever, couldn't we? When she had to be turned and moved, Jinx was always there to move her. And he was there to help, cupping the tiny cup of cheekbones and eyes, kissing her forehead, holding her shoulders to help move her. And when Jinx lifted the blankets to turn her, he saw that the sheets and the pads were all yellow and wet, the fluid just seeping out of her. When Jinx turned her to move her onto her back, onto her side, the indentations of her fingers showed on Drinka's flesh. He even got used to that being Drinka's flesh. "Something happened today?" Drinka always told him a story while they were repositioning her. "I thought I saw a blue teddy bear playing with the flowers." "Well," laughed Jinx, "it's just the morphine, honey." After the first time, Jinx whispered to Sabbath in the hallway to calm him down. "Hallucinating. A lot of them do." The flowers where the blue teddy bears played were from the clients of the inn. There were so many bouquets the head nurse wouldn't allow them all in the room. There were often flowers without cards, from the men, from everybody who had ever fucked her. The flowers never stopped coming. He got used to that. Her last night, Jinx calling the next morning after Rosie had left for work. "She threw a clot, a pulmonary embolus. She's dead." How? How can that happen? Her blood work was all out of kilter. The bed rest, look, it's a nice way to go. A very merciful killing. Thanks. Thanks, you're a good scout. Thanks for calling me. What time did she die? After you left, about 2 hours after. Okay, thanks. I didn't want you not to know and to show up tonight. Did she say anything? In the end, she said something, but it was in that Croatian. Okay. Thanks. Driving Morty's things north for safekeeping, wrapped in his flag and wearing his yarmulke. Driving in the dark with Morty's things and Drinka's last night. "My American boyfriend." "Shalom." My secret American boyfriend. Her voice wasn't that weak, but he pulled the chair close to the bed, beside the irrigation bag, and held her hand in his. This was the way they did it now, night after night. To have a lover of the country. I was thinking this all day, to tell you, Mickey. To have a lover of the country, which one... It gave me the feeling of having the opening of the door. I was trying to remember this all day. The opening of the door. The morphine is bad for my English. We should have put your English on morphine long ago. It's better than ever. To have the lover, Mickey, to be very close that way, to be accepted by you, the American boyfriend. It made me less fearful about not understanding, not going to school here, but having the American boyfriend and seeing the love from your eyes. It's all right. It's all right. So I don't get so fearful with an American boyfriend. That's what I was thinking all day long. I never thought of you as fearful at all. I thought of you as bold. She laughed at him, though with her eyes alone. Oh, my, she said, so fearful. Why, Drenka? Because of everything. Because I don't have the intuition, the intuitive feeling about it. I've been working in this society so long, and I had a child who grew up here and in the school system here. But in my own country, I could have sorted it out with my fingertips. It was all a lot of work for me here, overcoming my inferiority complex at being the outsider. But all these small things I could understand because of you. What small things? I pledge allegiance to the flag. It had no meaning. And the dancing, remember, at the motel? Yes, the bow people I saw. And it isn't nuts and bulbs, Mickey. What isn't? The expression in English. Jinx said today, nuts and bolts. And I thought, oh God, it isn't nuts and bulbs. Matthew was right. It is nuts and bolts. It is? It can't be. You are a wicked boy. Call me practical. I was thinking today that I was pregnant again. Yes? I was thinking I was back in Split. I was pregnant. Other people from the past were present. Who? Who was present? In Yugoslavia I had fun too, you know. In my city I had fun when I was young. A Roman palace is there, you know. An old palace that's in the central part of the place. In Split, yes, I do know. You told me years and years ago, Drenka dear. Yes, the Roman guy, the Emperor Diocletian. It's an old Roman town on the sea, said Sabbath. We both grew up by the sea. We both grew up loving the sea. Aqua Famina. Next to Split is a smaller place, a sea resort. Makarska, said Sabbath. Makarska and Madamaska. Yes, said Drenka. What a coincidence. The two places where I had the most fun. It was fun. We swim there. We spend all day on the beach, dance in the evening. My first fuck was there. We sometimes have dinner. They would be serving the soup in these little bowls, and they would go and they would spill over you because they are not experienced, they're waiters. They would come with a whole tray, and they would carry it, and they would come and they would serve it, and they would spill it. America was so far away. I couldn't even dream of it. Then to be able to dance with you and to hear you sing the music, I suddenly stepped that close to it, to America. I was dancing with America. Sweetheart, you were dancing with an unemployed adulterer, a guy with time on his hands. You are America. Yes, you are, my wicked boy. When we flew to New York and drove in on the highway, whatever the highway is, and those graveyards that are surrounded by cars and the traffic, and that was very confusing and frightening to me. I said to Mattia, I don't like this. I was crying. Motorized America with all the endless cars that never stop, and then suddenly the place of rest between that. They are thrown a little here, a little there. It's so very crazy to me, so extremely opposite and different that I couldn't understand it. Through you, it is all different now. Do you know? Through you, I can think of those stones with understanding now. I wish only now I went places with you. I am wishing today, all day, thinking of the places. Which places? To where you were born. I would have liked to go to the Jersey Shore. We should have gone. I should have taken you. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, the three blind mice. Even to New York City, to show it to me through your eyes. I would have liked that. Wherever we went, we always went to hide. I hate hiding. I wouldn't mind to go to New Mexico with you, to California with you, but mainly to New Jersey, to see the sea where you grew up. I understand. Too late, but I understand that we don't perish of understanding everything too late. That is the miracle. But we do perish of that, of just that. If only, said Drenke, we could have gone for a weekend to see the Jersey Shore. You wouldn't need a weekend. From Long Branch to Spring Lake and Seagirt, it's about 11 miles. You're driving in Neptune down Main Street, and before you know it, you're in Bradley Beach. You drive 8 blocks in Bradley, and you're in Avon. It was all pretty small. Tell me. At the Bo Peep, too, she had always begged him to tell her. But to come up with something he hadn't told her, he'd have to think pretty hard. And suppose he should repeat himself. Did that matter to a dying person? To a dying person, you can repeat yourself forever. They don't care. Just so they can still hear you talking. Well, it was small town stuff, Drenke, you know that. Tell me, please. Nothing very exciting ever happened to me. I was never quite in it with the right kids, you know. Uncouth little runt. Family didn't even belong to a beach club. Rich broads from Deal weren't falling over one another pursuing me. I did manage somehow to get a couple of hand jobs in high school, but that was a fluke. Didn't really count for much. Mostly we sat around and talked about what we would give if we could get laid. Ron Metzner, who nobody looked at back then because of his skin, used to try to console himself by saying to me, "It has to happen sooner or later, doesn't it?" We didn't care who it was or even what it was. We just wanted to get laid. Then I got to be 16, and all I wanted was to bust out. You went to sea. No, the year before that. The summer I was a lifeguard during the day. Had to be. On the beach were the dramatically endowed Jewish girls from North Jersey. And so I worked nights to supplement my shitty lifeguard pay. Had all kinds of after-school jobs, summer jobs, Saturday jobs. Ron's uncle had an ice cream franchise business. They'd come along like good humor, ding-a-ling, blanketed the shore. I worked for him once, hawking Dixie cups from a bicycle truck. I had 2, 3 jobs going in a single summer. Ron's father had a job with a cigar company, salesman for Dutch Masters cigars, colorful character to a hick kid. Grew up in South Belmar, son of the cantor and the Moyle who in those days had a horse, a cow, and an outhouse, and a well in the backyard. Mr. Metzner was the size of a city block, enormous man, loved dirty jokes, salesman for Dutch Masters cigars, and he had opera on the radio on Saturday afternoons. Carried off by a heart attack as big as the Ritz when we were in our last year of high school. Why, Ron went to sea with me, fleeing selling popsicles for the rest of his life. Dutch Masters had their place up in Newark then. Mr. Metzner used to go up there twice a week to pick up cigars. During the winter, on Saturdays, when gas was rationed during the war, Ron and I made deliveries all over the county for him on our bikes. One winter, I worked in ladies' shoes at Levin's department store in Asbury. Pretty good-sized store. Asbury was a busy town. On Cookman Avenue alone, 5 or 6 shoe stores. I, Miller, and so on. Tepner's, Steinbach's. Yep, Cookman was a great street before the riots carried it away. Ran from the beach right to Main Street. But did I never tell you that I was a ladies' shoes specialist as young as 14? That wonderful world of perversity. Discovered it right there at Levin's in Asbury Park. The old sales guy used to lift the ladies' legs when he tried the shoes on them so he could see up their dresses. Used to take their shoes when a customer came in and put 'em far away where they couldn't reach 'em. Then the fun began. Now this shoe, he'd tell them, is a genuine schmata. And all the time raising their leg up just a little higher. In the stockroom, I'd smell the inner soles after they'd tried them on. A friend of my father's used to peddle socks and work pants to the farmers around Freehold. He'd go to the wholesalers in New York and then come back, and I'd go out with him on Saturday in his truck when the truck started. And I'd sell and get to keep $5 for myself at the end of the day. Yeah, a variety of jobs. A lot of the people I worked for would be quite surprised to know that I grew up to be a rocket scientist. That didn't look to be in the cards back then. The job where I could really pick up bucks was parking cars for Eddie Schneer at night down by the amusement area in Asbury. Ron and me, that summer I was a lifeguard. We'd park one car for Eddie and put the buck in his pocket, the other car for us and put $1 in this pocket. Eddie knew, but my brother used to work for him, and Eddie loved Morty because he was a Jewish athlete and didn't hang around with the nutty, bummy-type hotshot stars, but came right home after practice to help his father. Besides, Eddie was in politics and real estate and a thief bastard himself, and he was making so much money he didn't even care. But he liked to scare me. His brother-in-law used to sit across the street and spot. What's spot? Bernie, the brother-in-law, would spot 100 cars in your area, and you were supposed to have $100 in your pocket. Eddie had a big Packard, and he would drive down to the area where I was working. He'd pull up, and out the car window he'd say to me, "Bernie's been spotting you. He doesn't think you've been giving me my fair share. He thinks you're screwing me too much." No, Mr. Schneer, none of us is screwing you too much. How much did you take, Sabbath? Me? I'm down to only half. He'd done it. A laugh came from back in her throat, and her eyes were Drinka's. Drinka a-laughing. You are the easiest shiksa to make laugh that ever was. Mr. Mark Twain said that. Yep, the summer before my brother got killed. Everybody was worried that because of Morty's being away, I was getting in with the wrong crowd. Then he got killed in December, and the next year I went to sea. And that's when I got in with the wrong crowd. My American boyfriend. Now she was in tears. Why do you cry? Because I couldn't be on that beach when you were a lifeguard. In the beginning here, before I met you, I was always crying about Split and Brach and Makarska. I was crying about my city with the narrow streets, the medieval streets, and all the old women all in black. I was crying for the islands, the inlets of the coastline. I was crying for the hotel on Brach when I was a bookkeeper still with the railway, and Mattia was a handsome waiter dreaming of his inn. But then we began to make all the money. Then Matthew came. Then we began to make all the money. She was lost and took refuge behind her closed eyes. Is it pain? Are you in pain? Her eyes fluttered open. I'm all right. It had not been pain, but terror. But he had got used to that, too. If only she could. They said about Americans that they are naive and not good lovers, bravely Drenka went on. This nonsense. Americans are more puritanistic. They don't like to show themselves naked. American men, they weren't able to talk about fucking. All this European cliché. I certainly learned that ain't the case. Ain't? Very good. Excellent. The American boyfriend. Eventually, I am not so stupid a Croatian Catholic shiksa woman. I even learned to say ain't. She'd also learned to say morphine, a word it had never occurred to him to teach her. But without the morphine, she felt as though she were being torn apart alive, as though a flock of black birds, huge birds, she said, were walking all over her bed and her body, tugging violently with their beaks inside her belly. And the sensation, she used to tell him, yes, she too loved the telling, the sensation of your coming inside me. I don't really feel the squirting. I can't, but the pulsation of the cock and my contractions at the time and the whole thing so totally wet, I never know it is my juice or your juice, and I am dripping from the cunt, I am dripping from the ass, and I feel the drops coming down my legs. Oh, Mickey, so much juice, Mickey, all over, all so juicy, such an enormous wet sauce. But lost now was the wet sauce, the pulsations, the contractions. Lost to her now were the trips we never took. Lost to her was all of it, her excesses, her willfulness, her wiliness, her recklessness, her amorousness, her impulsiveness, her self-division, her self-abandon, the sardonic and satiric cancer turning into carrion, the female body that for Sabbath had been the most intoxicating of them all. The yearning to go on endlessly being Drenka, to go on and on and on being hot and healthy and herself, everything trivial and everything stupendous consumed now, organ by organ, cell by cell, devoured by the hungry blackbirds. Just the shard of the story now, and the shards of her English, just bits of the core of the apple that was Drenka. Only that was left. The juice flowing out of her was yellow now, oozing out of her yellow onto the pads and yellow, concentrated yellow into the irrigation bag. There was a smile on her face after the morphine boost. Why, this little bit left of her looked almost sexy, amazing, and she had a question to ask. Go ahead. Because I am almost blocked out about it, I could not remember today. Maybe you said, yes, I want to piss on you, Drenka. And whether I really wanted it, I don't think I really pondered so much upon that, how it would be. But I would say that to you. Yes, you could. To make you hot and to make you happy. To do things that work for you. Or something. Immediately after the morphine, it was never easy to follow her. And the question is what? Who started? Was it you that took your dick out and said, I want to piss on you, Drenka? May I? I want to piss on you, Drenka. Is that how it started? Sounds like me. And then I thought, oh well, this transgression. Why not? Life is so crazy anyway.